Okay, then this is something just a little bit different. It's a video response, just a standalone video as opposed to one of my double-header things with gameplay and stuff. Video response to a question that was asked by Alan, mamemeister. Also there's a good response to it by Lawn Boys Post. Links to those down there. The question: do you play video games in public or outside of your house? Handheld gaming. And my answer to that is yes. Thank you for watching. No, I'll go into some detail, because you'll be aware that I do like handheld games consoles. I've got 1 or 2 or 3 or 20. I don't know how many I've got. I've got quite a few. Proper, like, old school things like the Game Boy and the Game Boy Advance and the Atari Lynx and the Game Gear and the Game.com. Yeah, and then the more modern emulation systems like the GPD XD Plus, which is what's running this here. I've got it just there, it's plugged in via HDMI. And then things like this, the retro game RS97 or whatever else you want to call it. So, you know, everything from the fairly expensive emulation handhelds to the absolute cheap TAT Famiclone GBA lookalike things that are kind of rubbish. And pretty much all points in between. I like handhelds, which is strange given that my eyesight is absolutely crap, and spending more than half an hour on a handheld does give me a headache or hurt my eyes or both. But yes, I do game in public, though I am kind of careful about just how in public and where. I will not game, I won't, like, it's going to sound wrong, I won't whip it out on the high street. I won't sit in town on a bench on, like, the main, it's not called the high street, but we'll call it a high street because that's effectively what it is, in workshop and play video games, because you just don't do that there. It's not that kind of town. It's a bit rough. I can't, people don't get mugged, but it's not, no. But I will game on the bus, I will game on the train, I will game in the dentist waiting room and hospital waiting rooms. I have done that. Times I can think of where I have gamed on the go. I have sat in, there's a shopping centre in Hull, and I can't remember, Andrea was doing something or other. I can't remember, she went shopping in some shop or other, and I was just like, I don't know what shop she went into, but I was just, I don't know what shop it was. I wasn't interested. I didn't want to go in there. I sat outside. I was probably worn out and hungry and stuff like that. So I sat in a main sort of public area, found a bench, sat down and played, I was playing Galaxian and probably Gallagher on, is it the Namco? One of the compilation cartridges on, I was playing on the GBA Micro. I had taken that with me, and I sat there for probably only 10 minutes or so, and got a few strange looks from kids who were like, what the bloody hell are you doing? But, you know, nothing, no major comments, no, you know, people didn't pay any attention at all, which is absolutely fine. I also played the GBA on the train on the way to Sheffield. And again, mostly I go for the retro arcade games. I don't really, I never take the PSP with me. If I'm on the go, I suppose that's the thing, I do have different handhelds for different situations. If I'm on the go, if I'm going to be on public transport or sitting in a public place, I want something small and not overly expensive, fancy, whatever. In terms of functionality, the GPD XD is my favourite handheld. and I will take that on holiday with me, and I will sit in like a hotel room, or there's a large sort of seating area in the Grand in Scarborough where that would be fine. I would use it there. Haven't been there for a while, can't afford it, but you know, it's that kind of situation. I would use something like that. For outdoors or other kind of places, I've taken to carrying that retro game RS-97 in my jacket pocket. I've got it in a bag. It's not a very good bag, just the protective sleeve that it comes with in the box. And that is now my carry it everywhere handheld. I can see me using that in the dentist waiting room or whatever. There have been occasions where I have been in a well, it's been the hospital waiting room actually. I have been sitting there. I was waiting for... What was I waiting for? I was waiting for a ultrasound scan on my hernia, and it was turning into a long wait, and I hadn't got a handheld gaming system with me, and I was like bored out of my brains. So I generally don't use my phone for gaming, but I have got MAME on it, and I have got it configured because I hate touchscreens. I can't game with a touchscreen. But Star Wars, Atari Star Wars, you can configure it to use the tilt controls on MAME for Droid. So I sat there in the waiting room playing Star Wars, and certainly one or two people looked. I mean, the thing is, and here's a thing that Lawn Boy's post said, mostly when he's out and he's got time to kill or whatnot, he doesn't game if he's in public. He's browsing interwebs. And I will do that. Quite often I will turn on mobile data and I will browse Twitter. I say browse, I'll just flick through Twitter. I love Twitter. It's my, outside of YouTube, in terms of social media, if I'm not doing videos, Twitter is my thing, and I will do that if I'm out and about. But in the hospital, in Bassett Law Hospital in Worksop, you cannot get a mobile signal. Never mind data, you just can't get a phone signal, which is, excuse me, a pain in the arse, because if you're in there, you might be in there unexpectedly and you want to phone loved ones, you're screwed. You can't get a bloody signal. And I found this in a lot of hospitals actually, and I've been in a few over the years. It's like, do they deliberately block the signal so you have to use their phones, which cost the bloody earth, and pay for their patient visitor Wi-Fi? It seems like they do. It seems like a money grab. But anyway, I was sitting there waiting for that scan and couldn't go on Twitter, so MAME played Star Wars. One or two people looked and were like, what? What are you doing? I think it wasn't so much that's cool, how on earth are you doing? And it was just, what are you doing? Which was odd. But yeah, I've sat and played Galaxian on the GBA Micro all the way from Worksop to Sheffield. Kept the volume down. I try to be like considerate. Yes, I don't do it a lot. Mostly because if I'm out and about, I'm doing something. It's really only if I'm waiting, and that means on public transport or in a waiting room. If I'm anywhere else, I'm going to be doing something. Going to somewhere, walking or whatever, or buying something, or look at, you know, I will be doing whatever it is I'm out there to do, in which case I won't be gaming. But it's that waiting thing. Then I do like to game while I'm out and about, if I haven't got a mobile data signal. And I will game when I'm on holiday. Yes, actually, Game Boy Pocket on the beach at Scarborough, playing race driving. That was great. That was cool. I kind of had to be careful not to get sand in the thing, but it seemed like a not too expensive handheld to take on the beach, so it wouldn't have been a catastrophe if it had got knackered, but it didn't. I am careful, but you know, it was a consideration. I am very careful about where I take the GPD-XD because it's not a cheap device, and that is the thing with the modern handhelds. The modern emulation devices, they're not cheap unless you go for the things like the one that I've just reviewed recently. That is still not £40. It's not a throwaway thing, but it's not a over £100 thing that would be I would be very upset to damage one of my Android ones. Yeah, I think that answers that really. It's a good question. It's a good good thing to ponder. That is my video response. Links below to Alan and Dave's videos as well, because they're well worth a watch. Right, I'll shut up now. Thank you for watching.
Ben what now? Never bloody heard of him. Yeah, alright. I suppose you should subscribe if you want to.